Well, good morning again. My name is Gary O'Connell, and this year I have the honor of serving as the president of your Board of Trustees. My wife, Beth, and I have been proud members of this congregation for the past 8 years. You know, every year the board is required to lead one of our services. And today we are happy to do that, but it does mean that I'm going to be giving the sermon. And you know what? I am in no way qualified or trained to give a sermon to anybody. If we were in middle school right now, and this was the gym, and we were picking sides for the best sermon teams, I would be the last one picked, without a doubt. And I know this for a fact because just as we were leaving the house today, my wife Beth turned to me and said, "You know, the theme of the month is forgiveness." That would have been a good thing to know. I'm not here to talk about forgiveness. I'm here to talk about giving. So maybe there's no forgiving during a pledge drive. It's got to be earned. But despite that, I'm excited to do this because I do support our pledge drive, and I believe that this faith community of ours is thriving, and we know we're growing. We just saw that. I believe that we can reach this month's goal, and I think we can actually raise more than that. I'm not saying that we will do that, but I'm saying we absolutely can do that. You have heard from Reverend Kelly, Grace, Gary, Stacy, Elizabeth, and others about why we should appreciate this congregation. Today, I want to focus on how we can reach that goal. Pledging and generosity are pretty difficult topics because, one, it takes a fair amount of money to keep us operating this building and this place. And two, it's your money. And nobody wants to spend their money on this. Right there, that sounds like this is the classic definition of a tough sell. So let me try and break down how we can meet our goal. If you've looked at the total expense number in the proposed budget that was sent to you with the pledge cards, you might be concerned that it's too large for a congregation of our size and makeup. It's not really. Let me ask you something. How much money do you think fundraising experts say a church of our size and spending can raise in a capital campaign over a couple of years? Any guesses? Well, the building committee asked that question very recently, and Cammie O'Keefe, who was a professional fundraiser for nonprofits in the past, went off and researched it, and the answer is $1,500,000. $1.5 million. To me, that's reassuring. If we together have the potential to raise that kind of money in a capital campaign over a couple of years, then we have the potential to meet the goals that have been set in this pledge campaign. It's easy to think in terms of scarcity, but it's not true. If we all participate, we can thrive and grow. Think about this. Pledging is different than all the other donations you might be making. A pledge to this congregation is a promise to provide a sustained level of giving that comes with a relationship in return. If you donate to WHQR or the Red Cross, you might affect the scope of what they do, but not their core mission. The mission of this church is based on direct input from the congregation, and the budget reflects that input. We shape this organization every day through our actions and generosity. Here's another question for you. How many people here in the room today own a second home? You're right, that's a trick question. The answer is we all do. We own this place, okay? There's no UUA doesn't own it, we own it. This is your house. This is where you come. And so in a sense, when you pledge, it's a really good idea to remember you're giving the money to yourself. Okay? You're literally taking an asset from one account and putting it into another. Okay? So how can we reach this target? What does your pledge, how does the pledge fit into your overall spending? How can you think about it? The key for me, and this is just how I approach these things, is to ask 3 questions. Do I trust the organization? What is my personal goal for giving? And does the value measure up to my commitment? For example, I trust WHQR here in Wilmington. I have a goal for what I want to contribute, and every year I think about if I'm still getting good value for it. I don't even know what their goal is, what they're trying to raise. I have a personal goal of what I want to give to them. If I don't trust an organization, then I'm likely to spend more time focusing about how they are spending the money. We all know some big charities that are notorious for having huge overhead costs that limit delivery of services to clients. I don't trust those organizations, and I rarely give to them. But I trust UUCWNC. I'm confident that we are spending our money wisely and that we are very frugal with it. Look at all the changes we've made over the last 2 years to our campus. We did it with very limited resources. No one would accuse us of creating a crystal palace here. If you were in the parking lot today, you know that's true. So please, if you don't trust us, just get involved. Join the board, join the finance committee. This church is whatever we want it to be. Another reason I think we can hit this target is that we have a compelling event coming up. A compelling event is often needed to create real change. Soon we will call a new settled minister. We have grown each of the last 2 years without having a settled minister. I think that means that next year is going to be another year of really substantial growth for us. Together, we are building something here. So last year, we invested in our campus, and this year, we are investing in our staff so that we can support that growth as we build our vision for this church. You are mistaken. You are mistaken if you believe that we can do this without making some investment in the future. I believe we can afford this, and I hope you do too. So the second thing for me is setting a personal goal. Having a personal goal is really important. Goals flow down all the decisions that you make. I don't know what you are giving, and you don't know what I'm giving. It's private. Like you, I only share my financial information with my family and the IRS and my bank, insurance companies, credit card companies, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and apparently anyone using the dark web. But that's it. I draw the line right there. But as an example, if UUCWNC has earned your trust, then you might decide that you want to give whatever the average amount per person is needed to cover total expenses. So if you take the $290,000 number, which is the preliminary amount budgeted for pledges and donations next year, and divide it by the 173 active members and friends, then your goal would be about $1,700. And if your partner gives the same, then you would try and give $3,400. But maybe you could pledge a little bit higher because we know there are people in this congregation who cannot give the average amount. We need to support them just as we support every member of our church. Of course, this is not the only way to set your goal. It could be you want to donate the money equivalent to a fifth of the choir director's salary, or you want to cover the coffee costs for the year. Whatever you want to do, however you want to think about it, it's your personal goal. And if everyone tries to reach their goal for supporting this amazing place, then we will be fine. Another important step is to think about the value you get from the congregation. Are you getting the return you expect? And then decide if it's equal or greater to your commitment. For this, I use an idea that I learned while I was still working. My career was in computer software. I worked for software companies that sold big, complicated business programs to big, complicated organizations. The process was time-intensive and really costly. Customers always wanted to do a big proof of concept, to test every use case and feature they could think of. Instead, we would ask them to do a proof of value first, where they would pick the 5 most important features with the most value to the business, and we would test those features. It saved time and money for them and us, because if you can't hit those numbers, why do anything at all? So before pledging, you might do a quick proof of value exercise for this congregation. The results may surprise you. Here's how I did my proof of value. The areas I looked at were personal connections, Sunday services, religious education, caring, and activism. When I was done, the results surprised me in 2 ways. First thing is I found that being a UU isn't really that easy. And second, the value for me is different from everything else I spend my money on, because much of the value is in what we are doing together. The benefit is not things that I'm getting directly from the congregation. So first, for personal connections, obviously this church is not the only way you can make personal connections and friendships in your life. But we have a number of social activities and groups that make it fun and interesting to be here. I'm not involved in that many activities, but I have made some incredible friends. Every week I attend services, I learn something about someone who I don't know that well that blows me away. People like Ed Quinn, who ran away to join the circus when he was very young. Jerry Winsett and Diane Halley, our own Hollywood connections. Jimmy Reeves, where did he go?
Right here.
Our radical chemist with a past. Jill and Dave Pollock, who helped their family here in Wilmington while they run a farm in Kansas. Or Roxy Morrison, who had a job dancing the can-can in Alaska. What can I say? Where else can you find this mix? Come on. Seriously, where can you go in town and get this? It may be a little intimidating at first, but if you stick with it, the connections are here to be made. That's not to say we don't have challenges in this area. We can be cliquey, but we are improving how we work together and how we can best serve all of our members. The bottom line is, do you remember what it was like to go through COVID? How much did you miss interacting with this congregation, or wish you had a community like this to lean on? We may have some issues, but this is a place to come and share. We just need the resources to do it better. Next, I thought about Sunday services and spiritual growth. Now, this is an area where it can be challenging because you're a UU. Goes without saying, doesn't it? In our congregation, there is a very wide range of spiritual beliefs. We think of ourselves as like-minded people. But when it comes to individual spiritual paths, we cover a lot of territory. So while these different paths makes us richer as a community, it also means that on any given Sunday, the service might not quite be your thing. Today, for example. For me, I'm more of a humanist. I don't know if there's a spirit or God out there, and I'm pretty sure that the universe is just as likely to kill me as save me. I like it when we focus on how we live our lives so that we treat each other with the respect that all of us deserves. But that doesn't mean that I can't hear the wisdom in paying attention to the Earth's natural cycles, or experience the awe that this life puts in front of us every day. The services here have been great. Beth and I often go home and talk about aspects of the services. I have to admit, though, I don't know if it's just me, but remembering sermons is like doing a Wordle puzzle. As soon as you're finished, by Monday, it's gone. We might just remember the theme, that's about it. But I guess that's why we post the sermons online. But the most important thing is, I do remember being here the Sunday after Donald Trump was elected to office. The sanctuary was packed. There were 3 people that day, 2 on the right and 1 on the left, who said things that I will never forget. The 2 on the right said they were members but had not attended in a long time, but they had to be here on that day. And the person on the left said, I don't even belong to your church, but I just need to be here today. So where will you want to be after the next election? I know I want to be here with you. Next, I thought about RE. Let me just say, I love our little extroverts and the introverts that follow them. Beth and I feel lucky that we have grown children and a grandchild. Hi, Tommy. But they live up north. We don't get to see them as often as we would like. So for us, it's just fun to see kids here every Sunday. Let's face it, living with just your contemporaries is not healthy. We all need multi-generations to be at our best. And children need a place like this, a place where they are cherished. I give our young families a lot of credit. They see beyond our limitations to the value in the RE programs here. Some parents would look at our facilities and small number of students and choose a bigger church. Supporting younger families and members is also part of being a healthy community. We don't necessarily need to grow by huge numbers, but we do need to have younger families and members joining as others age out. That's another word for dying, in case you didn't know. That is the definition of a thriving church. And bottom line, there is value to me when we are thriving. I don't want us to just be the liberal wing of the Wilmington Senior Center. It's kind of true. Next, I looked at caring. Yes, we are a small congregation, so we can't offer some of the services that a large church does, but we are a caring community. Our Share the Plate program is very important to everyone, and that's shown every week by your financial support. We also get out in the community and volunteer, and it's really impressive. Everyone here does something. When it comes to caring for our members and their families as they go through difficult life passages, I think we're really special. One of the difficult things in life is knowing how to support someone who's going through something that you have not experienced. It's so difficult to know what to say or to offer. Some people are very stoic. Some people just need a small group to support them. Others just need family. Our caring and pastoral care groups do wonderful work, but it's also good to just have a community of people that shows the support in small kindnesses and that are there to be with you as you go through these things. I feel fortunate to have this community as part of my support system. And finally, I looked at activism. Here we are challenged every week to look at our community in Wilmington, our state, and the world to recognize unjust actions that we cannot support. We are blessed with having dedicated and knowledgeable people who make it easy for us to have a voice in what's going on in our community. By the way, I know some people don't like the long digest issues, but hey, it's all there, and it makes it easy to do something. New members and visitors often tell us how active our congregation is in living up to our principles. It's one of the attractions. Bottom line, there's value in what we do for the community of Wilmington and the state of North Carolina. Together we have a voice that needs to be heard. Together we have that voice. When we support our social justice teams, we make a difference. So let me just add a shout out to the voter registration effort that is a focus for our congregation right now. Check the digest for what to do. We have to make a difference this year. We can send cards and make calls. We don't all need to be on the front line. But it's time for less talk and more rock on voting rights. So let's get out there and do it. So at the end of my value assessment, I was struck by how unique this faith community is. Think of this. You can join the Y. You can join a league for any sport, travel to different countries, or get active in a political group. All of these things are worthwhile. They might change your health and or provide friendship and support or expand your worldview, but they probably won't change you. Being a member of this congregation can transform you. That's valuable. So as you pledge, I hope you take the time to do your own proof of value. Even if you don't change your pledge, it may give you a new perspective on what this community means to you. I mentioned before that our family is up north, and Beth and I have had the discussions about there may become a time when either our kids need us or we need them. And if that happens and we move, I will miss the beach. I will really miss the weather. But most of all, I will miss you in this community. If that happens, I would smile if I knew that this special place and group of people were thriving down here in North Carolina. Thank you, and may it be so.